please.
I feel two strong goals in my life, apart from being enlightened.
You feel a strong call, you said.
I feel two strong goals.
Too strong,
yeah.
okay.
One is to do something interesting academically, to create some interesting academic work that shows light and truth, maybe. Another is to, this one's a bit confusing, be able to flirt with lots of women and be rejected and be accepted.
Okay.
And it feels like there's this sense that I need to somehow accomplish those things. I need to throw myself into them, to take risks, to fail, to be more courageous. And yeah.
I feel that actually you are one goal. They are not two.
Okay.
They appear as two because it's the same energy that is simply manifesting in two different areas. The work area and the, let's say, love relationship area.
Yeah, or sex.
Yeah, sex, love.
Yeah.
What is this? There is a desire to be approved, a desire to be seen, a desire to be loved and held. You will never get that from a dream, but you can hold the dream in your heart. And if this happens, if you can hold all your sense of being a failure and wrong and unwanted and refused, if you can sit with that, with the pain of that believe me, is not personal. Looks so personal, is not. If you hold that, then the transformation of this will be reflected in the dream as a different dream. You don't change the dream from the dream. You change the dream from the dreamer. You're trying to ask to a reflection of yourself to love you. It's a shadow. Stay with the feeling of being no one and see how this feeling to be no one can be held by your big heart. If can happen, this that I'm explaining, then you will see that you are no one, and there is no reason to be afraid of this. Then you will stop trying to becoming a someone. And you will discover that in being no one, you are everybody. And you will reach everybody. And then you will be accomplishing the desire of love and connection that you're trying to have. There is nothing wrong with wanting to have like a career or being good at your job or flirting with women. I'm not saying that these things are wrong. I'm saying that you're trying to accomplish something through these things that it's impossible to achieve. And the only way in which instead you can find what you're looking for is sitting with that fear to be nobody, to waste your life. Okay? You have a big fear of wasting your life. And these fears belong to the false identity. Stay with the fear to be a nobody and see that there is no reason to be afraid to be a nobody. You are nobody. And then you will find everybody in you, as you. And then your body will function from this, and it will shine. That's the beautiful part, you see. When this recognition happens and is embodied, for the first time, our form is able to function at its best. It's able to let the light of awareness shine through it. And you become you. With no effort. You flow. Okay? This is something that intuitively you know is possible. That's why you're chasing it. But you're chasing it on the wrong path, trying to accomplish it in the word. Okay? It's here. In. And there is nothing in. That's the beauty. That conditioning that says to you, become somebody, become successful. Let's not judge it. Let's look at what it is exactly. What is that pushing of becoming somebody and being successful and leave a track, leave a sign in life? What is behind it? It's the desire of love to embody itself through the human form and share itself. So it's not wrong. But because happens through the ignorance of the false identity, creates a lot of suffering, creates competition, fear of failure, fear of winning, that is usually much bigger than the fear of failure. Okay?
Can I ask something?
Sure.
Thank you very much, by the way.
You're welcome. Can you notice, and I'm saying it to everybody, can you notice that when a question is sincere, is not intellectual, how is beneficial for everybody? That's why I invite you to work as a whole. You know, like yesterday afternoon was beautiful. I loved it. Thank you, Maurizio and Zayat, who did it. When we work from the heart, we are beneficial for everybody. Simply being ourselves. Please.
It feels like more insights or changes or transformations happen when there's strong sense of failure or rejection. And so, but you don't get that failure or rejection to the same extent unless it appears that you take risks and put yourself out there. So,
are you speaking about your addiction to suffering? You're saying to me that you notice that there is more transformation only when there is losing and being rejected and you didn't ask me, but it's like you asking me, is there another way? Yes, it depends. You know, usually we don't let go until we're really obliged, like a gun against our head and say, okay. But there is in us also an addiction to that. An addiction to that feeling contracted. I give you an example of this. You might be in a perfect situation, let's say in a party, in a piazza in Titignano, And everybody's having fun and drinking and chatting and dancing and enjoying life as it is. And suddenly that feeling starts. And it's like poignancy and sadness. And it's so juicy. And you jump on it because it's so familiar to you. And you say, let's say here, let's torture myself with the thought that I will not achieve anything in my life and I'm alone. And I have no kids, no family, and nobody wants me. Oh yes, I could play with this for, let's say, 3 hours. Okay. You don't do it like this, of course. But this is what has happened. There is an attraction that we have towards suffering, towards drama. I was speaking to a lady yesterday, and she was telling me that her culture is full of drama, and so she's very attracted to it. And you notice when you do it, because it's enough like a phone call, a little thing, and then you're distracted from it, and you come back to suffering. What does it happen in that split of a second in which you forgot about your problems? Where are they in that moment? So, going through pain is not holding on to suffering. Holding on with torturous thoughts. It's a way to avoid pain. Sounds strange, but it's like this. Because we are talking about going on a deeper level than the mental one. Deeper than the story. And becoming intimate with those feelings, with that parts that we're trying to avoid all the time. Do you have any problem with intimacy? Me? We all have. I'm joking, of course. There is nothing more intimate than being nobody, because you are everywhere then. Thank you so much. Thank you for your honesty. You're very honest. Thank you. There is this lady that wanted to say something before. You're still there?
I've got 2 questions actually. I work in mental health, and obviously you work with...
Can you speak a bit louder?
Yeah, sorry. I work in mental health.
Oh.
I'm very familiar with the kind of ideas of spiritual emergency. This is so relevant in mental health. Are there areas of mental health that we kind of don't respond to this? I'm probably getting really too cognitive, etc., etc. But what do you? If I say mental health to you, what do you respond?
Okay. One of the things I do is I do a course for therapists, a year course for therapists in Italy that want to include non-duality in their job. And I do it together with the therapist because I'm not a therapist. So I take care of the non-dual part. And she takes care of including that in the job. So I understand why you asked me this, because in a sense, this embodiment that I'm speaking about is what psychotherapy tries to achieve, a true integration from emptiness to everything, and the healing of the wounds of personality. So, say this, I'm not a therapist, and if somebody has psychiatric problem, I send them to the doctor. But I understand, and as long as they are with me, I speak to them about what is behind the mind. I'm not an expert on the mind because I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not an expert on the body because I'm not a doctor, but I am an expert on nothing. And that is what is healing everything. So in my personal experience, and this is not a scientific study, so take it simply as the sharing of an observation of people, what I gathered is that in some people, building up this ego image is difficult. They don't manage it so well. And so they are dysfunctional in a very dysfunctional world. Okay? They wouldn't be so dysfunctional if the world wouldn't be so dysfunctional. So when they come across this message, two things can happen. They might see that what they are trying to find, that is peace, as all of us, is behind that fear of disgregation. Or, I'm sorry to say this, more probably they will get scared and refuse it. Because what is my understanding, but as I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I don't cure psychiatric people, is that what is at the base of mental illness is a failed awakening, in a sense. Arriving on the verge of the dissolving of the identity, but not being able to cope with the fact of it. And if a doctor or a therapist can understand this, and they are trained to take care of this, they can have interesting results. It's not my job. I said it already 2 times, but I want to be sure that it's clear. But I know that this is the case. The best thing that you can know as a therapist is to know that whoever is entering through your door in your studio is you. And staying with that and listen from that space. And that listening is love. And that listening will be the best medicine for them to receive. And you will for sure share a few tips and some advice and some words and maybe some medication, because they are useful for containing the side effect of all this. But the most important thing will be there, that is love. That is the most important thing. Thank you. Please. Okay. Is last question, and then we do a little meditation together.
Thank you for your speaking and for your
Can you
answers.
speak in the microphone, please?
And for your answers. I have a question because the hope. I can agree that the hope in my own emotion and in my own life very often is not helpful, because I am not standing in me.
I can't hear well.
Because I don't stand in myself when I am hope and when I want something. But my question is, we need the hope to change the world.
We need the, sorry?
Hope. The hope, yes.
Okay.
And the wanting to change the world and to create a vision to do something like this. And that is my question.
Okay. Let's come back to this word, hope. I will speak with you about it in a different way, because your question is different from the person that asked it before. You are calling hope the deep intuition in your heart that it's possible to live from non-separation. Okay? So this deep intuition, it's alive in you. And maybe you don't know how to make it become true, but you know that this is what must happen. I would like you to consider that this wish is not personal. You didn't decide to have it. It's simply there because it's God's wish. Stay present to it. Let it work through you. Let it blossom through you. In simple things. You know, we are not all called to do apparently big things. Maybe, I don't know, you're a mother or a wife, or I don't know what you do. But in your everyday life, in holding that deep wish in your heart, you are meditating the entire universe in you. There are masters in India that never meet anybody. They live their life very reclusively, alone. But they are in touch with the entire humanity. We are not here. This is the surface of the ocean. Your wish, your hope is the desire of the entire humanity to live as one. And as John Lennon was saying, it's a pity that Peter is not here. You might think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. This wish that you have is a deep prayer. And if you pray sincerely, prayer is very powerful. Not praying for something to be different, that is going in conflict with the word. Take that energy, the energy that is behind what you just said, and simply stay with the pain, staying with that feeling that wouldn't be nice if we could function as one, enjoying our diversity. Stay with it. That is your contribution. And this will start to sprout in your life. You are very intuitive.